Hi everyone, this is Madam Florence Mwiriki, Management Lecturer and Trainer. Today, discuss a core topic in business, which is business management. The learning objective of this particular lesson is to provide our learners and professionals with the necessary skills, with the necessary knowledge that will enable them to navigate the complexities of managing businesses effectively in today's dynamic and competitive environment. Therefore, we start by asking ourselves, what is business management? We can say that business management is a multifaceted discipline that encompasses various aspects of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling to achieve the organizational goals and objectives. We can also say that business management is the process of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling the activities of a business or an organization to achieve the goals and objectives. Therefore, from those two definitions, we can say that business management is not a single activity, but it is a process that contains the 5 main objectives, or what we call the functions of management. Therefore, let us dive in to understand the key principles of business management. The first core function of management, or a principle of management, is planning. What is planning? Planning involves setting objectives and determining a course of action for achieving those particular objectives. Planning helps us to determine or to identify where we are and then establish a roadmap that we are going to take so that it can take us to our desired level. According to Contoots, it says that planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, and who is to do it. And planning will bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go. Therefore, planning will make things possible that would not have otherwise occurred, or which could have otherwise not happened. There are various types of plans, which are strategic plans, tactical plans, and operational plans. So for us to understand the different types of plans that are made by managers, we use a triangle to demonstrate the same, where at the apex of the triangle we have the strategic plans, which are long-term plans, and they are normally made by the top-level managers. At the middle of the triangle, we have the tactical plans, which are normally intermediate plans, and they are made by the middle-level managers. At the bottom of the triangle, that is where majority of the managers are, who are the first-line managers, and they normally make the operational plans or the short-term plans. Next, we discuss the key steps in planning. When you are planning, where should you start? The first thing, or the first step, it is to establish the objective. The objective, you set the goals. What goal do you want to achieve in your organization? Number 2, you establish the planning premises. The planning premises are normally the assumptions that shape the events in the future. Then number 3, it is the choice of alternative course of action. We normally plan because there are various alternatives that are there, and now we need to choose one of the available alternatives. The fourth step is the formulation of the derivative plans. The derivative plans are the sub-plans or the secondary plans that will help us to accomplish our main plan. Then the step number 5, it is securing cooperation. It is necessary, or rather advisable, to take support or advice from the subordinates who will assist or who will help in implementation. Then the last step is the follow-up. It is always good after you carry out a plan, you appraise or you evaluate the effectiveness of this particular plan. It is also important we have a look at the characteristic of planning. What is planning? Planning is goal-oriented. Always we look at what we want to accomplish, that goal, that target that has been set by the organization. Planning is looking ahead. Remember, we always plan for the future. Then planning is an intellectual process. It requires someone who is good in diagnostic and who has excellent cognitive skills. Then planning involves choice and decision making. That is, I have already said at some point that we plan because we have various alternatives. And so we have to make a decision on which is the most appropriate alternative. Planning is the primary function of management. That is the primacy of planning. Without planning, other functions cannot be carried out. So planning is always the main or the first function of management. Planning is a continuous process. It is a continuous process because we are operating in a dynamic environment, and over a period of time, we will always need to revise or to redo our plans. Planning is all pervasive, meaning it is carried or it is performed by of managers at all levels of organizations. Planning is designed for efficiency. The reason as to why we carry out planning is so that we can improve or increase our efficiency in the organization. Planning is flexible. It is flexible because it has to be changed in case there is a need that may arise from the external environment. What are the external limitations of planning? Number one, we have the political climate. We are operating in a very dynamic climate in terms of the political changes from the ruling government, the changes of government, the changes in the political systems, and so on. Where the second limitation is on the labor union, the strikes, the lockouts, the agitations that come from the labor, technological changes. Technology is changing how things are doing, how businesses are being done, and the operations of a business also keep on changing. The policies of competitors, that is where we, at some point, you need to learn about the industrial or the industry environment. The natural calamities, the natural environment will also keep on changing. The changes in demand and prices, that means changes in the consumer taste and preferences. You can also agree that the social-cultural changes will also affect or hinder our planning, and also we can extend and have a look at how the international environment will also limit our plan. The second function of management, which follows planning, is organizing. Organizing in layman's language, you can say it is putting everything in order, having an arrangement of tasks and the people in organizations. Organizing will involve developing an organizational structure and allocating human resources to ensure the accomplishment of the objective. We can also say that organizing will help in arranging work and knowing identifying the work in terms of tasks and responsibilities that need to be done in the organization. Therefore, we can say that organizing is concerned with structuring, that is establishing the organizational hierarchy and the divisions at work, job design, defining the roles and the responsibilities, and the reporting of relationships. Number 3, allocating the resources, what we are calling the resource allocation. Allocating the human, the financial, and even the physical resources to the organization. Then we discuss the steps in organizing. Organizing also is a process which has the following 4 main steps. Number 1, identification of activities. That is always the starting point. All the activities that have to be performed in the organization must first of all be identified. And now that is where we also carry out the job analysis. The second step is departmentally organizing the activities. So in this step, the manager will try to combine or arrange similar work, similar tasks, similar responsibilities are put together to form a department. The step number 3, it is classifying the authority. Once the departments have been made, the manager needs to create or to classify the power in the organization. What we mean by classifying the authority is to determine the extent of power that an employee in a certain position will hold. The step number 4 is coordination between authority and responsibility. When you are given the responsibility to perform, you should equally be given equal authority. The responsibility and the authority will always go hand in hand. So what I mean is that for smooth operations, for you to work and carry out your responsibility, which is work, effectively, you must be given equal authority. The third function of management is staffing. Therefore, what is staffing? Staffing is a managerial function which involves managing the organization structure through proper and effective selection, appraisal, and the development of the human resource or the personnel to fill the roles assigned to the employees. We can also say that staffing pertains to recruitment, selection, development, and compensation of the subordinate. Staffing is an important managerial function. This is because the operations in the organization cannot take place without bringing on board effective employees. Therefore, staffing will help in placing the right men at the right job. Staffing is important because it helps to bring the right people for the right job. In other terms, through staffing, we are able to match the right employee according to the needs of the organization. And this is staffing, and for us to perform the function of staffing, we carry out the recruitment, the selection, the development, and the compensation of them. What are the main sources of recruitment? Basically, there are two main sources of recruitment, the internal source and the external source. We start by clarifying what is an internal source of recruitment. This is a recruitment that takes place from within the organization or from within the concern. Internal means we are recruiting the candidate from within the organization. The internal sources, primarily, there are three main sources, which are the transfers, the promotion, and the re-employment of ex-employees. Some other times, we can even say we can employ the relative of the deceased, meaning that is already from someone who existed in the organization. What are the main reasons why an organization will consider employing from within? It is a way of motivating the employees. When you are working in an organization and at least you are aware in the case of a need, in the case of any promotion or need, you may be qualified to get that promotion, then you may get motivated. So it is one of the main methods that is used to motivate employees. When you get the transfer, you get the promotion, or we re-employ the ex-employees. Other times, the casuals can also be employed now on a permanent or on full-time basis. That is also an internal source of recruitment. Then next, we discuss the external sources of recruitment. The external sources of recruitment have to be solicited from outside the organization. So here we are recruiting from the external sources. So which are these external sources? The external sources include employment at the factory gate, the advertisements. We employ from employment exchanges, employment agencies, educational institutes, labor contractors, recommendations. We can even do the manhunt, or what we call, we do the labor hunting. We hunt for someone specifically. But with the external recruitment, the key thing is that the organization searches for that suitable candidate from outside the organization. And at this point, I can mention what is recruitment. When we talk of the sources of recruitment, what is recruitment? Recruitment means it is a process of searching for the prospective employees and then stimulating them or attracting them to apply for the job in the organization. In recruitment, we need to search or to find out where are these prospective candidates, and then we need to stimulate them or attract them to apply for the job in our organization. So we can search for the prospective employees either from an external source, or we can search for them from within the organization. Of course, we have the advantages and the disadvantages of recruiting from the external source. With the advantage, we are able to get fresh blood, we are able to get new talents, we are able to reduce the internal politics, we also have a competitive advantage, and also we will be in a position to infuse new energy. On the disadvantage side, recruitment is expensive, so it is as an organization will incur cost, it is time consuming, it will demoralize the internal employees, and to another extent, there will be potential for high turnover when employees realize that when they get employed, they may never be promoted. The organization would rather recruit for more outside. On the flip side also, there will be lack of loyalty and commitment from the existing employees. The fourth function of management is directing. Directing is said to be a process in which the managers instruct, guide, and oversee the performance of the workers to achieve predetermined goals. Directing is also referred to as leading. And another key thing that we can note, directing is said to be at the heart of the management process, meaning without directing, the other four functions may not take place effectively. That's why a few philosophers said that directing is the life spark of an enterprise. It is through the directing that we are able to actuate the other functions of management. We need someone who is good in guiding, in overseeing, and in instructing the employees on what they are supposed to do. Directing will always involve motivating, guiding, and directing or guiding again the employees to achieve the organizational goals. What is the importance of directing? Number one, it will initiate action. Through directing, the organization is able to have a starting point of the work performance of the subordinate. Number two, it integrates the effort. Through directing, the supervisors are able to guide, inspire, and instruct the work of the subordinate. Directing is also a means of motivation. When the manager or the director is there to offer the direction or instructions, that alone helps to motivate the employees. It provides stability. Stability is concerned with the long-term survival and the performance of the organization. Coping up with the change, we need that leader, we need that manager who will be in a position to guide and offer instructions so that the organization can effectively cope with change. Efficient utilization of resources. Directing helps in effective utilization of resources because the subordinate will be aware of what is expected of them at what time, and they have a leeway in case of any challenges on how to solve the problem, because the leader or the director is there to offer the guidance when needed. The fifth function of management is controlling. Controlling consists of verifying whether everything occurs in conformity with the plans adopted, instructions issued, and the principles established. We can also say that controlling ensures that there is effective and utilization of organizational resources to achieve the planned goals. Therefore, we can say that what we control are the plans. We must first of all have the plans, because you control to ensure, or it will consist of verifying whether everything that is being implemented is in conformity with the plans. Therefore, for controlling to take place, there must be planning, because we want to ensure, to verify that everything that is being implemented is as per the plans that were adopted. So we discuss now the controlling process so that we can understand how we can carry it out in our modern organizations. The first step is always to establish the standard. What do we mean by the standard? The standard are the plans or the target that have to be achieved in the course of the business function. Therefore, it means for us to carry out the controlling, first we need to come up with the plans or the target. The second step is measurement of performance. This is the second major step in controlling, where we measure the actual performance. Then the third step in the controlling process is for us now to compare. We compare the actual performance against the standard performance. Remember, the standard performance is your plan. What was your plan? What was your target? So you compare the actual performance against the set standard. The other step is for you now to identify the deviation. You identify the deviation, which can either be on the positive side or on the negative side. The next step is for you as a manager to take the remedial action. The remedial action means you correct. You correct, identify the cause or the reason for deviation, and then now you take the corrective what? The corrective measure. At this point, I would ask, what is the relationship between planning and controlling? Planning and controlling are like two sides of one coin. They are inseparable. You cannot separate the two. Without planning, the controlling cannot take place. And once we carry out the controlling, we are also able to revise our plans. That is why we can say that the 5 functions of management are normally carried out on a cyclic basis. That is on a cyclic, from the word cycle, on a cyclic basis. Once you start with the planning, then you carry out organizing, then you come up with the staffing, you come up with the directing, then controlling. When you are taking the corrective actions, it means you revise the plans. Once you revise the plans, you get again to organizing, the staffing, directing, and controlling again. That is why we say that the functions of management will always be carried out on a continuous basis. Remember, the business always operates in a dynamic environment. Therefore, every time the organization will be expected to keep on revising their plans. And that is why we say that plans are flexible, because they need to be changed time after time so that the business can continue surviving regardless of the changes in the environment. Thank you for your time. This is Madam Florence always. I look forward even to have more videos so that we can be able to take our businesses to the next level regardless of the changes in the environment, and especially at this particular period of digitalization, the businesses need to be sustainable. And that is why I am here to take you through what is expected, and together we can be able to scale the heights and unfold what the future of the business holds. Thank you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more lessons and training on various aspects of business. Thank you.